The night my marriage ended started with a birthday cake. 300 people filled the ballroom, champagne flowed, music echoed through the hall, and my wife stood on stage looking happier than I'd seen her in years. Then my legs suddenly gave out. I hit the floor, hard. The room went silent. For a moment, I thought my wife would rush to help me. Instead, she grabbed the microphone, looked directly at me, and shouted 4 words that changed my life forever. "Stop this circus, Daniel." The crowd laughed. Some people even clapped. But what nobody in that room knew, not my wife, not our friends, not our family, was that I had discovered something just hours earlier. A secret so devastating that before this birthday party was over, my wife's perfect life would begin to collapse. And the worst part? She caused it herself. My name is Daniel Carter. I was 42 years old. For most people, I looked successful. I owned a thriving technology company, lived in a beautiful house, drove expensive cars, and had what appeared to be a perfect marriage. At least that's what everyone believed. The truth was very different. Emily and I met 13 years earlier. Back then she was funny, kind, supportive, or maybe I only wanted to believe she was. As our wealth grew, something changed. Emily became obsessed with appearances, designer clothes, luxury events, social status. Everything became a competition. Nothing was ever enough. A bigger house, a newer car, a more exclusive vacation. She constantly compared us to other couples, and somehow, I always came up short. At first, I ignored the warning signs. I told myself marriage wasn't perfect. I told myself stress changed people. But over the years, the disrespect became normal. Little comments, public jokes, embarrassing stories, small humiliations disguised as humor. Each one felt insignificant until they started adding up. What I didn't know was that Emily was hiding something much worse, and I was about to find out. 3 days before her birthday party, I received a phone call that changed everything. The call came from my doctor. He wanted additional testing. Apparently, something concerning appeared in my scans. I felt fear, real fear, for the first time in years. Driving home that afternoon, I realized how fragile life actually was. I decided not to tell Emily immediately. I wanted certainty first. But when I arrived home, something strange happened. Emily wasn't there. Her car wasn't there. And she wasn't answering her phone. Hours passed. Then midnight. Finally she came home, and her explanation made no sense. She claimed she was planning birthday surprises. I wanted to believe her, but something felt wrong. Then came the birthday party. The moment I collapsed, the moment she humiliated me, the moment everything began unraveling. While guests laughed, a waiter quietly handed me an envelope. No name, no explanation, just an envelope. Inside were photographs. My wife, holding another man's hand, kissing him, vacation photos, hotel records, massage, months of evidence. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't think. My entire reality shattered. But that wasn't even the worst discovery, because hidden among the evidence was something far more dangerous. Financial records, records connected to my company, records Emily should never have possessed. At that moment, I realized this wasn't just an affair, it was a setup. The next morning, I hired investigators. I told nobody, not even my closest friends. For weeks, I collected information, every transaction, every message, every secret meeting. The deeper I looked, the uglier the truth became. Emily wasn't simply cheating. She had been planning an exit strategy, a very expensive one. Hidden accounts, secret transfers, fake consulting payments, millions of dollars quietly moving through shell companies, and she believed I'd never notice. What she didn't understand was that I built the company myself. I knew every number, every contract, every signature. Soon, the investigators uncovered something shocking. The man she was seeing wasn't just her boyfriend. He was helping coordinate the transfers. Together, they planned to leave the country with a fortune they believed belonged to them. I felt rage, humiliation, betrayal, but I never confronted her. Instead, I prepared, because emotional revenge is temporary. Strategic revenge lasts forever. Over the next month, I worked with attorneys, forensic accountants, Corporate investigators. Every step documented. Every piece of evidence verified. I created one final opportunity. A stage, a spotlight, and an audience. The same things Emily loved most. She had no idea she was walking into a trap. 6 weeks later, Emily hosted the largest product launch in company history. Media attended. Investors attended. Influencers attended. Hundreds of people watched. Emily walked confidently onto the stage, smiling, celebrating, certain she had already won. Then the screens behind her activated, but they weren't showing her presentation. They displayed evidence, bank records, legal documents, corporate findings, timeline reports. The entire room froze. Emily turned pale. Her boyfriend tried leaving. Security stopped him. Then investigators entered. The room exploded into chaos. The same audience that once applauded her now stared in disbelief. Everything she built around appearances collapsed in real time. For the first time in years, Emily looked powerless. Afterward, she found me, crying, begging, apologizing, promising she could change. But I remembered the ballroom. I remembered hitting the floor. I remembered her voice. Stop this circus. So I smiled and said something she never expected. The circus is over. Then I walked away. 1 year later, the company was thriving. My health had improved. My daughter lived with me. And for the first time in years, I felt peace. People think revenge is about destruction. They're wrong. The best revenge is rebuilding your life so completely that the people who betrayed you become nothing more than a chapter in your story. And that's exactly what I did.